Today, on Be Something Wonderful, drop everything else and affirm this. Shockingly powerful. I am your host, Tom Kearin, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, welcome back. Powerful video today, really related to yesterday's video. I want to talk about what I've been seeing in my sessions, as well as on the channel, more and more. The clients are changing their lives, right? Changing their lives with this simple affirmation: I am source and there is no other, or I am who I say I am, or I am who I assume I am no matter what. Some form of that affirmation, some form, hear this, of the recognition of who you really are, right? This is what I'm seeing more and more in my sessions with these stories that I'm sharing to you as I get them, and also on the channel, others talking about how it's changed their lives. One in particular yesterday, it was one of my last sessions last night, and he wanted to talk about the video yesterday. He goes, Tom, I want to talk about today's video, which was yesterday's video. He goes, that's really what I'm experiencing, right? He grew up in a house where his dad would say he was no good because his dad felt no good. Right, his dad had struggled with alcohol and trying to keep jobs, trying to make money, and all of that. So this is how he grew up, and this is how he believed these were his programs. This was his life. That he can't beat it. That this is it. This is how he was formed. Right, and he goes, this channel has changed everything for me. So I really love this because because he knows that he has dominion over his entire life experience, right? That he's not those stories that his father told of him, that he's not those stories from childhood or from high school or even from college where he struggled with those beliefs, those assumptions being reflected back at him in relationships with friends and relationships with women and relationships, of course, with his parents. All of that is who he believed he was. He gets it now, that he gets to recreate all of that right now, and in every moment you determine who you are. And he said, sure. And he said, you know, Tom, thoughts and feelings would come up. I got it, that's why it felt like a pattern or a program. But just like Bashar says, it's not a pattern or a program once you identify it. Once you identify it, it's a choice, right? And you got to keep choosing that new story. This is what he did. He's turned his whole life around. He said, Tom, I've got an amazing relationship. It's serious. It's long-term. I've got amazing friends around me. He goes, I got a great job. I'm making money. I don't have any debt. It's not like when I grew up, that's all we had was problems with money. He goes, I'm saving money. I'm good with it. He goes, I know that I can decide this now, no matter what of those spontaneous thoughts and feelings that come up that keep saying that I am not, right? He still gets that, but he keeps deciding, right? They're still there. That old story exists as one potential reality, but it's no longer his choice. He has changed who he is now. I'm getting tingles, which changes who he was and who he will be, because it's all happening now. There is no future and past. You're deciding it in the now moment. So I know one of you said in a comment on the video yesterday, well, it's not really changing the past. You're just changing your perception of it. Well, no, because there is no past. So when you change your perceptions in the present of who you are, your beliefs and assumptions of who you are, you're changing everything. You're changing your past, present, and future. This is big. I am source and there is no other. I am who I am. I am that I am. I am who I assume I am no matter what. All these various ones that clients are using that I'm hearing on the channel. But why does it work? And I put that in quotations because it's you. You're the process. It's nothing that works or doesn't work, right? But it's absolute, instant, and complete alignment with your core vibration, as Bashar and other spiritual teachers talk about. What is your core vibration as I am? It's your natural God-given state of being as all that is, that all realities are within you, all potential experiences. And all of them join together to create that love that you are, that gratitude, that state of joy that you are. That's your core vibration, right? Translated and if you want to translate what that core vibration means in terms of 3D feelings or emotions, it would be love, joy, and gratitude. But remember, it's a state of being, not just temporary thoughts and feelings in 3D, although you will feel those, right? It's impossible to feel your true state of being and then feel doubt and fear at the same time. He really got this. It's impossible to tell this story, to feel this core vibration, to tell the story of I am and feel that I am not at the same time. You got to pick one or the other. Either he's picking his old story or the new story of who he is, right? That's how you know you're assuming I am not. When you're feeling fear or doubt or some what you might call negative emotion, we're going to get into that in a minute, or negative feeling, that's how you know you're assuming I am not. By that feeling. Because remember, it's only source energy. But when you put that source energy through a filter of a thought, a fearful thought, or a doubt, or an assumption that's not true of your core vibration, not true of your God-given state, not true of who you really are, it doesn't feel good. That's how you know. That's your emotional guidance system. That's telling you that's not who you are, right? That's what a trigger is. It's just telling who you no longer are. It's telling you what is not your preference, right? That's what it's telling you. It's saying you don't prefer that state. You don't prefer to be that person. You don't prefer to be that identity, right? All negative emotion is simply some form of I am not. It's some assumption, some thought, belief, or assumption saying I am not. That's all it is. In all forms of I am not, or all assumptions of I am not, all beliefs of I am not, all thoughts of I am not, are simply thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions that are lower degrees of consciousness and awareness relative to your true natural state of I am. Do you see it? We call it negative, but what does that really mean? It just means it's negative to that positive core vibration that you are, that absolute positivity, that true state, that absolute love. Anything less than that, you would call negative or a lower degree of positivity to that core vibration or to who you really are. That's what really degrees of positivity mean, right? That's what true state of positivity means. It's not necessarily about positive thoughts and feelings. It's about positive being. That positive being is your core vibration. So anything less than that, any I am not thought or assumption is not going to feel good, because it's going to feel less than your core vibration. It's a lower vibration than that core vibration. It's lower in terms of positivity, or it's negative to that it's negative to that highest degree of your core vibration or who you really are. Right? Your highest degree of consciousness or positivity is I am. Right? Everything below it is negative in degree relative to it. That's what relativity means. There's just the absoluteness of who you really are. That absolute I amness. Anything less than that is relative to it and is only negative relative to that. Or it's a lesser degree of positivity. Do you see it? A lesser vibration. That's the whole discussion about vibration and correspondence and all of that. Those laws that we talk about, right? You're more positive to the degree you are, the more positive to the degree you are, the more aware and conscious of who you really are. The more positive you are, the more positive, the more you're remembering who you really are, to that degree you're more aware or conscious of who you really are. That's what positivity means. The more positive means you're more aware, or you're more conscious of who you're being. Do you see it? To the degree that you are more aware, to the degree that you're aware and conscious of who you really are, is the degree of positivity that you have or that you are. Right? That's what positivity means. Remember, there's only one emotion. That's source energy. There's only one energy. And you are only ever feeling that source energy. Do you see it? So to the degree, so if it comes through an assumption or a belief that's less than that absolute declaration that I am all things, I am all realities, I am that I am, it's going to then feel less than that core vibration, less than that absoluteness that you are. And we call that negative emotion. But it's just source energy, the only emotion that's put through a filter of something less than who you truly are. That's powerful today. Negative emotion, or feelings as we call it, indicate you're assuming, believing, and thinking something that is not aligned with your core vibration of I am. That's what alignment means, aligning with your source. You're thinking something less than who you really are. Something or negative, or in other words, that's not aligned with your core vibration of I am, or it's negative in degree to your natural state of being. In other words, some degree of I am not. It's some less degree of I am, which is I am not, because there's only I am, there's only absoluteness. Anything less than that is some degree of I am not. I am not already. I am not that yet. I'm not fully this. That's what that is. And so it's not about positive thinking. It's about positive being. I am who I assume I am. I am who I imagine I am. I am who I desire to be. That's what's happening. This is the momentum that I'm seeing on the channel, right? All negative emotion, which is simply I am not, some degree of I am not. It could be a mild negative emotion, but it's some degree of I am not. I am not the absolute. I am not all that is, right? Is some form of wanting. So all negative emotion, all of this I am notness is some form of wanting in waiting for reality, or in other words, your experience of reality to be different than it is. Hear it again. All negative emotion, this idea of I am not, is some form of wanting and waiting for reality or your experience of reality, of ultimate reality, to be different than it is. And this creates and perpetuates the unwanted experience or the negative emotion or the unwanted realities. That's powerful today. So, therefore, the more aware of yourself as all that is, know thyself, right? That all that you want and desire already exists here and now within you. Do you see? Therefore, the more aware of yourself as all that is, that all that you want and desire already exists here and now within you. In other words, the more aware that everything you want and desire is already within you. You already have that now. You already are that. You already are all that is. The more natural it feels to assume, claim, and occupy that experience of reality as already yours. Do you see it? The more aware you are of yourself as all that is, right? That in other words, that all you want and desire already exists here and now within you. That idea, the more natural it feels to assume, claim, and occupy that experience of reality as already yours. The more natural it feels to you, it feels like who you really are. The naturalness of the state of being, the naturalness of being conscious of who and what you want to be and what you want to have, right? It's natural. You rise to, in other words, you resurrect or rise to and align with the vibration and frequency of the reality that's already there. It's already a core vibration. You're simply recognizing it, right? You're dropping those assumptions and beliefs that are not aligned with it, right? This new identity. Then as you look out, and this is important, then as you look out as and from that new identity and reality, as you look out as reality, as you look out from that new reality identity, regardless of the appearances, regardless of what it's showing you, I am who I assume I am no matter what, then outer conditions, outer conditions must change to reflect your change within. Do you see it? But we don't look out. We're waiting and watching and looking for evidence that it's changed. But if you're looking for evidence that it's changed, that means you haven't changed. Do you see? It only matters that you change. That's the change. Because if you're looking out there for change, then you haven't changed yet. Or you wouldn't be looking out there for it. Do you see it? That's powerful. So, waiting, complaining, I am not yet, all of that. Again, you're looking in the mirror and saying, when is that reflection going to change? But it can't change because you haven't. This is what Bashar says. But if you are waiting for the reality to show you that you have changed, then you haven't changed. I'm going to say it again. But if you are waiting and wanting for the reality to show you that you have changed, then you haven't changed. It's as simple as that. If you're waiting for it and wanting it, the reality to show you that it changed, then you haven't changed, so it can't change. You're just here, standing in front of the mirror saying, when are you going to change? Right? You're waiting for the reflection, the outer world, in the mirror to smile first. We've talked about that before. Bashar talks about it. And Bashar says here, instead you're waiting for it to change. You're wanting it to change instead of simply smiling first. Simply smiling first because that's what you prefer, regardless of whether there's a mirror or not around. In other words, what Bashar is saying is be who you really want to be anyway, regardless of the mirror or the reflection. That's what you prefer anyway. You prefer to smile. So why not smile? You prefer to be to feel that ideal reality within. So why not be in that ideal reality regardless of the mirrors around? That's powerful. Assume and declare I am that I am no matter what reality is showing you. Because that's your true nature. That's who you really are. Right? Remember, you are shifting realities all the time. Every moment. Every moment. So it makes no sense to stop and say it hasn't changed. It's always changing. You've got to be that change and know that it's always changing. It makes no sense to wait and want for reality to change. That means you haven't changed. And as you go through those billions of frames per second, you keep seeing something similar to the reality that hasn't changed. Right? So this is big today. In fact, this is what Bashar says. In fact, that's what time is. Do you see it? So in answer to this question, you are shifting realities all the time. Bashar says, in fact, that's what time is. The thing you call time, the experience you call time is actually your consciousness shifting from parallel reality to parallel reality billions of times per second. Right? If you didn't shift, you would have no experience of movement, no experience of change, no experience of time, because each parallel reality is just a frozen frame. It's a frozen frame of light, right? There is no motion in any one parallel reality, right? You put your light on that. Remember, it's all light. And those frozen frames of reality are light, but they're frozen. They're nothing without you. You give them light. You decide what your story is. There's no motion in any one reality. You're the motion within. Waiting, complaining, fear, doubt, I am not, all make no sense. Your I am story creates the experience of reality, the series of frames of light through which your light of consciousness, through which your light of consciousness shines or runs. Hear this, right? So none of that makes sense because it's changing billions of times per second. You're shifting realities. You don't have to try to shift. You're always shifting. That's the thing. You're not deliberately shifting. You're always shifting, no matter what. So your job is to tell the story as you want your story to be, your I am story. It creates the experience of reality. It creates the series of those frozen frames of light through which your light of consciousness shines or runs. Your light of consciousness runs through those frames like a movie projector, through the frames of a film strip, projected out, right? Projected out and projecting this whole reality, right? Of you, this whole illusion, this whole hologram of an experience for you, right? But what never changes is who you are, that I am awareness. That's a projection from within you. That's powerful today. So here you are. Here's I am, all that is, the divine mind. You're the center, but you're all of this. I put you here just to show you, but you're all of this. All of this is within you. And there you go and you project your I am story or your I am not story. What story are you telling? Do you see it? In all of those frames, you're moving through all of those frames, billions of frames per second, right? Creating that hologram of your experience of reality, your experience of movement and change in time. That's what the assumption of your desired end, no matter what. That's what the I am who I assume I am is so powerful. That's why, not what. That's why the assumption of your desired end, no matter what, and I am who I assume I am, is so powerful. That's why it's so powerful. That's why no matter what has gone on in your life before that moment, right, that you believe has been your experience, it doesn't matter. It only matters the story you're telling now, because you're going through billions of frames of reality right now, creating your entire life experience, past, present, and future. You're creating the series of frames. You're creating the story of your life. In every moment, you get to tell it a different way. You get to tell it again. Right? Your experience of reality, your experience of movement, regardless of the appearances, regardless of the conditions, regardless of the thoughts or feelings, the state of being is who I say I am. I am who I say I am, no matter what. That's what we've been seeing. That's what this kid who went through years of this sort of verbal abuse of what he described in his words, verbal abuse of you're no good. You're never going to amount to anything, right? And money doesn't grow on trees and everything. It's about struggle, right? He let go of all of that. He's thriving now. But he does keep telling it. He's going to keep telling that new story. Because sure, there'll be thoughts and feelings and random spontaneous things that come up from that great subconscious. But he tells his new story, right? He knows who he is. He knows where the power is. He knows he is the light. He gives it all light. He decides what those frames are going to look like. Wow. Drop everything else and affirm this. Shockingly powerful. I am your host, Tom Kearin, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, thank you. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for liking and sharing and commenting on the videos. Thank you for being part of our Facebook group, the Be Something Wonderful Ambassadors, at facebook.com/groups/Be Something Wonderful, for joining us on Instagram and Twitter at Tom Kearin, for joining us on TikTok at Be Something Wonderful, and for joining our membership channel. We had such a powerful live stream on Sunday. Beautiful live stream. It's now available for viewing. I'm still getting comments. I love it. Still getting emails about it and asking about the next one, which I've already announced is at the end of November, after the Sunday after Thanksgiving at 9 a.m. in the morning. I think it's the 26th or the 29th, 26th. I'll recheck that. I think I just announced it, but that's coming up. So we're already receiving questions at info@besomethingwonderful.com. Plus, we released a video that's getting a lot of buzz from the members on the channel. I mean, a lot of buzz that we just released a few days ago. Check it out. If you're a member and you haven't checked it out yet, check it out. There'll be another powerful one coming soon. Creators, with great love, with great light and infinite gratitude, this is Tom with Be Something Wonderful, coming to you from the studios here in Las Vegas. Until next time, we'll see you soon.